Well, we're through 17,000 people across the English Channel so far this year. A calm day, hundreds into Dover. In a moment, we'll go and join Mark White, who is down there in Dover Docks. But we're literally being openly mocked and laughed at. Let's have a look at this series of videos on TikTok. The first one shows young men assembling near the beaches of northern France last night. Have a look at this.
Right.
See, large group of young men, not a woman in sight, not a child in sight, large group of young men last night getting ready to cross the channel. They've all paid the trafficker £3.5 grand. Here they are now on the boat, somewhere on average now about 65 to a boat. Here they are crossing the channel. It's thumbs up, big smile, it's Cherabang day out, and now they've been picked up by the RNLI. Yes, big waves, happy as Larry, off to a 4-star hotel, 3 square meals a day and 40 quid a week, spending money. And they're literally mocking us openly on TikTok. And there's nothing the social media channel can do. Even when they take down the accounts, more appear. And these are all adverts. You know, come to the UK, it's easy, it's safe. Yes, the odd thing goes wrong. And I just feel we're being mocked. And it's now over 100,000 young men that have come. But please don't call it an invasion. Oh, no, no, no. If you use that word, everybody goes potty and says you're an extremist and a racist because these are all poor, suffering people. In fact, the BBC always tell us these are desperate people. Well, none of them in those videos looked too desperate to me. I wonder, will it ever stop? After all, the Home Office think it might go on for 5 years. Your thoughts, please. Farage@gbnews.com. Now, Mark White, our Home and Security Editor, has been down in Dover Docks for at least 12 hours today. Mark, a red alert day for Border Force and the others. It was a pretty busy morning, wasn't it?
Yes, it was, with at least 8 small boats coming across, Nigel, and we counted some of those boats. 4 of the boats had upwards of 60, one even 65 people on board, and that's clearly a continuation of this trend by the people smugglers to push even more people onto these boats. They're slightly bigger, they're a bit more sturdy, but when you get numbers like that on the boats, it doesn't take much at all for that boat to get into difficulties, as we saw, of course, just at the weekend there on Saturday. As we speak, the French patrols are out on the other side of the channel. We're expecting the possibility that we could get an evening surge as well coming over from France.
Yeah, I'd be surprised, Mark, if we don't get boats coming this evening, because there is, in fact, some easterly wind that starts to pick up tomorrow and onwards. Now, what's really interesting, there's one big change here. Yesterday was the 2nd anniversary of the Taliban retaking Kabul after Biden's disastrous withdrawal, and it would appear now that not only the number of Afghans that are coming across the channel, but it appears they're winning the turf wars over in Calais.
Yes, well, I mean, I wouldn't really necessarily say they're winning the turf wars, but they're certainly, in some cases, trying to take the fight to some of the Kurdish people smugglers who have really been in control of the people smuggling routes for years now. And as bizarre as it seems, I actually bumped into 3 Iraqi Kurds, all cousins. 2 had come across in lorries 8 years ago, 1 on a small boat 2 years ago. That person's still waiting for their asylum process to complete. They've come here for a picnic. They all live in different parts of the country. They wanted to meet up, so they're overlooking the very channel that they crossed. And I was asking them, they didn't want to appear, a picnic, yeah. They didn't want to appear on camera, but they were happy to chat. And they were telling me about their fellow Kurds, Iraqi Kurds, who control a lot of these camps around Dunkirk and even in Calais, and how increasingly they are arming themselves, that there is a lot of infighting that's breaking out, mainly between the Kurdish gangs, disputes over them undercutting each other, invading their particular turf. They, jealously guard their particular patch. And they're getting reports from people they still know on the other side who say that they have seen these gangmasters wandering about now with weapons. I've been there many times over the years. I've been threatened twice by these criminal gangs, the gangmasters, with knives, never with guns. And it was only because they didn't like us filming. But it is a surprise that they are now arming themselves with weapons. But it seems, as you say, the Afghans, who are now the biggest nationality represented on these small boats, are themselves trying to get a piece of that action.
Yeah, no, quite extraordinary. Well, Mark, I have to say, it looks more like the Mediterranean than Dover from the shots I've got. And, quite ironic, isn't it, really? Gunshots on the other side just a few days ago and illegal immigrants picnicking. There we are in Dover. Quite extraordinary. Mark, you could be in for a long evening as well, I think. Thank you for your report from Dover.